to Sleepy Chronicles. Whatever today brought you, the noise, the rush, the things that didn't go the way you wanted, you can set all of that down now. Lie back, put your headphones in, let your shoulders drop and your jaw unclench. This is your time, and there is nowhere else you need to be. If you enjoy what we do here, quiet voices, slow history, and the kind of stories that make your eyelids feel heavier with each sentence, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe. It costs nothing and means quite a lot. And let us know in the comments where in the world you're listening from. We read every single one. Tonight, we're going to ancient Rome, a city that never sleeps, never quiets, and never, not once, lets you forget where you are. So get comfortable. We'll take it from here. You don't wake up so much as you surrender. The mule next door has been expressing its opinions since before the sun thought about rising. And the cobblestones beneath your window have been amplifying every cartwheel, every argument, every dropped amphora with the enthusiasm of an audience that never tires of the show. Your eyes open not because you are rested, but because Rome has decided collectively and without your consent that the day has begun. Your room is small. The straw beneath you stopped being comfortable around midnight. Your brother is still on his side of it, barely. One arm migrated onto your shoulder. You move it without ceremony. He doesn't wake. You have long suspected he could sleep through a siege. Then the door moves. Lucius doesn't knock. He pulls it open just wide enough to lean in. His gray hair still flattened on one side. His expression carrying the patience of a man who has been awake longer than you and has opinions about it. Up, he says. You stand. Lucius is not a large man, but he occupies space steadily, without apology. He was a carpenter before his hands began to argue with him. He is your father's oldest friend and has known you since before you could walk. This morning, he is holding something folded over his arm, and even in the gray half-light, you know what it is. The toga. It is heavier than you expected. You have watched men wear them your whole life, senators, merchants, your neighbor Decimus, who wears his with the confidence of someone who stopped caring about the fit years ago. And none of them ever seemed to be struggling. It looked effortless. It is not effortless. Lucius wraps it around you in silence, his hands moving through adjustments you cannot follow, tucking and folding the weight across your shoulder until it sits briefly, almost correctly. Then he steps back, and looks at you. Something crosses his face, not quite pride, not quite something else. He reaches into his tunic and produces a small wax tablet, smooth and worn at one corner, and sets it in your hand. For the Ludus, he says, don't lose it. The surface is blank waiting. I won't, you say. He nods once, the way he nods when he believes you, but wants you to know he'll remember. Outside, Rome hits you the way it always does. All at once, from every direction, without apology. The smell first: bread, oil, smoke, animals, and something from the upper floor of the Insula across the street that you have learned not to investigate. Then the sound: voices, wheels, a dog, two people arguing about fish prices, as though the Republic depends on it. The street is already full. It is always already full. You adjust the toga. It shifts immediately, sliding off your shoulder, with the quiet determination of something that has decided you are not in charge. You catch it. It settles temporarily into something approaching dignity. Near the baker's corner, you see Flavia. She is carrying a basket and managing her younger sister with the efficient energy of someone who has been handling people since before she had the vocabulary for it. She glances up as you pass. Her eyes find the toga. One corner of her mouth moves. She says nothing. She doesn't need to. You keep walking. The tablet solid in your hand. The toga already shifting again. The city loud and indifferent and entirely unchanged by the fact that this morning is different from every other morning you have lived. Rome doesn't mark the occasion, but Lucius is beside you, and somewhere ahead, the Forum is beginning its daily argument with itself. And you are 13 years old and dressed in more fabric than you have ever worn in your life. Whatever comes next, it is already yours. He, Ludus, is not what you imagined. You spent years walking past it. A low-ceilinged space pressed between a bread stall and a sandal maker, open to the street on one side, permanently accompanied by the smell of warm dough and leather, and whatever the sandal maker's apprentice burnt yesterday. From the outside, it looked like an afterthought, a gap between buildings that had been given a purpose. From the inside, it looks exactly the same. Lucius walks you to the entrance and stops there. He doesn't come in. He never does. He looks at the literator, a lean man with close-cropped hair, and the expression of someone who chose this profession before fully understanding what teenagers were. and something passes between them. A nod. Old acquaintance, perhaps, or simply two men who have both learned not to expect mornings to be pleasant. Don't embarrass yourself, Lucius says, not unkindly. Then he turns and walks back into the street, and the city swallows him. The literator's name is Marcus. You learn this in the first 30 seconds, when the boy beside you whispers it with the reverence usually reserved for natural disasters. Marcus has been teaching here for 11 years. He has a stick he calls nothing, because naming it would imply affection, and he carries it the way certain men carry authority, not as a threat exactly, but as a reminder that the option exists. You find a place among the others and sit. 6 of you total, arranged on low stools around Marcus in a rough half circle that faces the street. There is no wall between you and the world. A cart passes. A dog investigates the edge of the space, decides it isn't interesting, and leaves. Somewhere behind you, the fishmonger begins his morning argument with the universe. Marcus does not acknowledge any of this. His voice simply rises above it, the way a river rises around stone. Latin first, then Greek, then Latin again, because Rome has decided that fluency in one ancient language is not sufficient suffering for a 13-year-old. You copy passages onto the tablet, the stylus moving through the wax in careful lines, and you think of Lucius handing it to you this morning, worn at the corner, smooth from use, and you press a little more carefully than you need to. Then Marcus says your name. The others look at you. The fishmonger, as if sensing an opportunity, increases his volume. Stand, Marcus says. You will recite the opening of Cicero's first Catilinarian from memory with appropriate feeling. You stand. The stool scrapes. You know the lines. You have read them 4 times, copied them twice, but knowing lines and speaking them into open air in front of people, while a fishmonger narrates the price of mackerel, are not the same skill. You begin. The first 3 words come out correctly. The 4th catches somewhere between your throat and your teeth. You find it. You continue. Your voice is too quiet, then too loud, then too careful. The rhythm stumbling in the middle where you lose the architecture of the sentence and have to rebuild it from memory while 5 people watch you do it. You finish. The street fills the silence immediately. Marcus looks at you for a long moment. His face gives nothing away. Not disappointment, not satisfaction, not the particular expression of a man watching something collapse. Just attention, steady and unhurried. Again, he says, but this time, speak as though you believe the words belong to you. You sit with that for a moment. Then you stand again, near the edge of the space, at the boundary where the Ludus meets the street Flavia passes. She is moving quickly, basket gone, something folded under her arm. She doesn't slow down, but for 1/2 second, her eyes find yours across the noise and the distance, and then she is past, absorbed back into the city. You look down at the tablet in your hand. The morning's work is there, lines of Latin, a few Greek characters, one section where the stylus slipped and left a mark you'll have to smooth over. Evidence of something beginning. You stand again. You take a breath. This time, when the words come, they come louder. Marcus says nothing, but he doesn't say again. The street outside your window is unrecognizable. This is the same cobblestone you have walked every morning of your life. The same narrow corridor between the same leaning buildings. The same corner where the baker stacks his trays. And the same doorway where old Decimus stands every evening pretending he isn't watching the neighborhood. You know this street the way you know your own hands. This morning, it is wearing a different face. Saturnalia has arrived, and Rome has responded the way Rome responds to everything, immediately, loudly, and without any sense of proportion. Garlands hang from door frames. Someone has strung colored cloth between the upper floors of 2 opposing insulae, and it sways in the morning air like a flag for a country that only exists this week. Children run in directions that suggest no plan. A man in a bright yellow tunic is singing to no one. A woman throws dried flowers from a 2nd floor window. Below her, no one seems to mind. You step into it, and the festival absorbs you. Near the forum, moving against the crowd, you see Marcus. He is with a younger man, a student, perhaps, speaking with the focused attention he brings to everything, unhurried even here. For one moment, his eyes find you. He doesn't nod. He doesn't stop. But something in his expression registers your presence the way a man registers a word he hasn't decided what to do with yet. Then the crowd shifts, and he is gone. You are still thinking about it when you find Flavia. She is standing at the edge of a honey cake stall, not buying, just standing. The basket is gone today. Her hair is pinned more carefully than usual, and she is watching the street with an expression you haven't seen before. Not her efficient morning manner, not the half-smile from the Ludus doorway. Something quieter, something that has been there longer than today. You stop beside her. "You're not with your sister," you say. "She's with my mother," Flavia says. A pause. "My mother doesn't come to festivals." She says it simply, the way people say things they have long since finished being upset about. But her hands are still at her sides, and you understand, without anything else being said, that she came here alone, and that this is not entirely about the honey cakes. "My father used to bring me," she says then, quietly. And then she straightens, reaches for the basket that isn't there, remembers, and says, "Enjoy the festival," and walks back into the crowd with the posture of someone who has decided the conversation is finished. You watch her go. The crowd thickens around midday, and that is when it happens. Not the toga. This is something else. You are standing in the middle of the forum, surrounded by noise and color, and people laughing and arguing and celebrating. And for one suspended moment you feel it, the weight of the last weeks pressing down at once. 13. A man, officially. The toga says so. The ceremony said so. Nobody asked if you were ready. Rome looked at you and said, "Here is your roll. Here is your fabric. Here is your tablet. Now go." And you went. You have been going every morning since, keeping your face arranged into something that looked like composure. But here, in the middle of Saturnalia, your hands are not quite steady, and your chest is doing something that isn't quite breathing. And for one long moment, you are simply 13 years old, and you do not know what you are doing. Then a hand settles on your shoulder. Lucius, he says nothing. He just stands there, solid and unhurried, present without explanation. You wait until your breathing evens. Then you ask it. "You come every morning," you say. "Every morning since I can remember." Why? He is quiet long enough that you think he won't answer. Somewhere nearby, someone drops something ceramic, and a cheer goes up. "Then your father asked me to." Nothing else. The door is open now, and you both know it. Later, walking home, you reach for the tablet. You have carried it all day without writing anything. The wax is smooth, unmarked, exactly as it was this morning. Outside, the festival continues. Rome does not stop for private moments. The colored cloth sways between the buildings. Flavia came alone. Lucius said, "Your father asked me to." The tablet is blank. Some days you carry the weight of a question that doesn't have a shape yet. You bring it home. You set it down. You wait. The Ludus ends at the second hour past noon. And for the first time in weeks, no one is waiting for you outside. You stand at the entrance for a moment, the low doorway, the sandal maker's smell drifting from the left, the bread stall on the right already counting its remaining loaves. And you understand, with a clarity that is almost physical, that the rest of the afternoon is yours alone. No Lucius at the door. No hand on your shoulder. Just the street and whatever you do next. You turn left. The Thermopolium is 3 streets down, wedged between a fuller's shop and a wall someone has been slowly covering in opinions about the grain supply. You have walked past it 100 times. Today the smell reaches you before you see it. Warm lentils, olive oil, something with garum that shouldn't work and somehow does. And your feet make the decision before you do. The counter is long pitted stone, set with circular wells that keep the food warm from below. The man behind it has the build of someone who has stood in the same spot for 20 years and made peace with it. He doesn't ask what you want. He looks at you, looks at the toga, and ladles something into a bowl with the efficiency of a man who has categorized you already. You pay. You find a space at the end of the counter. You always hesitate at the door. Flavia is 2 spaces down, bowl already half empty, watching you with the expression she reserves for things she finds mildly, but genuinely interesting. The basket is back, set at her feet. She looks entirely unsurprised. I wasn't hesitating, you say. You stood there for almost a full minute, she says. I counted. You don't have an answer for that. You eat. The afternoon moves around you. The fuller's apprentice arguing with a delivery man. A cart stuck at the corner. 2 women negotiating over cloth. The owner refills a bowl without being asked and disappears behind the counter. Lucius used to bring my father here, Flavia says after a while. Casual, the way she says most things that are not casual at all. Before you look at her, she is tracing the edge of her bowl with 1 finger, not looking up. They worked the same street, she says. Years ago. Your father too, I think. Before I was old enough to remember properly. She says it simply. No weight attached. Just information, offered the way you offer someone a piece of bread here, if you want it. You are quiet for long enough that she looks up. Lucius never mentioned it, you say. Lucius, Flavia says, doesn't mention most things. You think about the festival, the hand on your shoulder. Your father asked me to. The door that opened and stayed open, neither of you walking through it. You reach into your tunic and set the tablet on the counter. It is covered Latin from the morning, 2 lines of Greek, a passage Marcus made you copy 3 times until the rhythm settled into your hand. The wax holds everything you gave it. Flavia glances at it. Something in her face moves. He's harder on you than the others, she says. Not a question. Yes, you say. That's not a bad sign, she says. And then she picks up her basket, nods once at the owner, who nods back with the familiarity of long habit and says, "Same time tomorrow." To him or to you, possibly both. Then she is gone. You look down at the tablet. The Latin, the Greek, Marcus's passage copied 3 times. Behind you, footsteps slow. You know before you turn. Marcus stands at the edge of the Thermopolium, one hand on the counter, looking at you with the expression he wore when he said speak, as though the words belong to you. He doesn't sit. He doesn't order. He looks at you the way a man looks at something that has shifted slightly since the last time he checked. Then he nods once, deliberate, and walks back into the street. You sit with the tablet in your hand, the bowl empty, the light beginning its slow lean toward evening. Lucius and your father on this same street years ago. Flavia counting your hesitation. Marcus and that nod. The city hums. The tablet is full. You are beginning to understand that some things have been arranged around you for a long time, and that you are only now learning to read them. Lucius comes at the usual hour, but this morning he doesn't wait at the door. He comes in. You hear him before you see him, the familiar weight of his step, the way he moves through a space without apology. Your brother is still asleep. The room is gray and cool. Lucius stands near the doorway and looks at you, and you understand that something has shifted. Not in him. Lucius never shifts. In what he has decided to say. Walk with me, he says, before the Ludus. You walk. The city is quieter at this hour, not silent, but lower. The way of fire is lower before anyone has fed it. Your footsteps find the cobblestone in the same rhythm they always do. And for a while, Lucius says nothing, and you don't push him. Your father was a carpenter, he says. Same street, same years. Better than good, the kind of work people remembered and came back for. He had a way of reading a piece of wood before he touched it, knowing where it wanted to go. He stops walking. Just a moment. His hands are at his sides, his eyes on the middle distance. The way people look when they are finding their way through something they have carried for a long time. He left when you were 4. Not by choice, a debt, a contract gone wrong. A series of events that Lucius names one at a time, as though each still has weight. He went south. He sent word twice. Then he didn't. Lucius heard, eventually, that he was working, that he was alive. He asked me to watch the street, Lucius says. His voice is the same as always, low, unhurried. But there is something in it you have not heard before. Not grief, exactly. Something that has lived alongside grief long enough to have made its own arrangements. So I watched the street. The forum opens ahead of you, pale stone in the early light. You have crossed this space 100 times. This morning, it holds differently under your feet. Marcus is already there. He sees you and says something to his students, who drift away with the discretion of people who know when to disappear. He waits until you reach him. Your father studied rhetoric, Marcus says, briefly, before circumstance made other demands. I knew him slightly, enough to recognize the way he held an argument, like something he'd picked up off the ground and wasn't sure yet whether to keep. He pauses. You hold one the same way. It is not a flaw. It means you are still deciding whether the words are worth believing. When you decide they are, and you will, the rest will follow. Then he steps back, returns to his students, and requires nothing in return. You stand in the middle of the forum. You take a breath, and then you speak. Not to anyone, no audience, no assignment. You speak the passage you have copied 3 times, the one that stumbled the first day and caught in your throat the second. You speak it into the open air, and the words come the way they didn't before, not perfectly, not without effort, but as though they belong to you. As though you have decided, somewhere between the first day and this one, that they do. You finish. The forum continues around you, entirely indifferent. Then Marcus turns his head. He doesn't cross the distance, but he looks at you for one deliberate moment and then looks away, and that is enough. That is exactly what it was always going to be. Near the far colonnade, Flavia is standing with her basket at her feet. She was not there when you started. She is there now. She meets your eyes and holds them, not the half-smile from the Ludus doorway, not the careful look from the festival. Something steadier, something that has made up its mind. Then she picks up her basket, nods once at you clearly, and turns back into the city. Same time tomorrow. You walk to Lucius and hold out the tablet. He looks at it. He looks at you. He takes it without a word and tucks it against his chest. It came from him, and it has gone back, and somewhere in between it passed through your hands and was filled and emptied and filled again. Let your eyes close if they want to. The forum is still there. The cobblestone under your feet, the baker at his corner, the tablet warm against Lucius's chest, holding everything you wrote. Somewhere across the city, Marcus is teaching. Flavia is moving through her mourning. Your father is somewhere south, in a life that doesn't have its full shape yet, for him or for you. And you are here, 13 years old and standing in the morning light, with your voice still faintly in the air, and the whole long afternoon still ahead, and Rome, enormous and indifferent and alive in every direction, doing what it has always done, not waiting for you, making room. If this story found you somewhere quiet, in the dark, at the end of a long day, somewhere between waking and whatever comes next, we're glad you were here. If you'd like to stay, there is more. A like and a subscribe take only a moment and help more than you might think. Sleep well wherever you are. We will be here when you come back.